This is Sunset Vibes TV. Raw.
And culture. But it does call for now a more systematic approach, given the fact that the laws around these, the IP, the intellectual property, can be by persons who are not Jamaican. And so the government has to, which we have done as a government, created the, is that for the culture to survive, it particularly in terms of music, in terms of film, in terms of fashion and art, there are certain standards that we need to meet. We need to train our people, particularly in the technology around the product of the cultural and music product. We need to give them a deeper understanding and connection to their history, so that our history can continue to influence what we are producing now. But so training and supporting our athletes and our musicians and our filmmakers, that's critical. But secondly, because it is now an industry, it's a business, an important element of it is how do we finance it? Because I think we need to move away from the notion that you're going to get a one-hit and bust, as we say in Jamaica. That's not how it works. It's, I mean, yes, you may have somebody score a one-hit here and they explode on the international stage, but what you know is that to make it through, either as an athlete or as a musician or as a filmmaker, it is usually years of work and preparation and networking and getting into the right space. Welcome to the stage, but not knowing all the work that went in to either build the athlete or build the musician. And so the government is looking at the industry very carefully, and we have actually started to support film. And we have created the Film Fund, which is a $1 billion fund, which we have now used to support several films. One of them would have been the Bob Marley film, The One Love, and the other was James Bond. And there are some other local films that have competed in a sense for support. And so that is one tangible way in which we have supported the creative industries, and we do intend to use that model, similar model, in other areas of the creative industries. And we continue to support our athletes in giving them access to things like insurance and support for stipend during training and so forth. And we are now examining ways in which we can increase our support for our athletes, because we recognize that they have a choice. They obviously would be very proud and want to wear our flag, but at the end of the day, when they come home, they would also want to be able to take care of their children and have a good house and live a good life. And other countries are offering them that. So we're cognizant of that. So we're looking at how we can support our athletes. Of course, the fiscal monetary demands on the government. There are many things to do. So it's about careful consideration and involving the public in the discourse, so that when the decisions are made, they don't divide the nation.
Looking ahead, what message would you like to send to Jamaicans in the diaspora and about their role in shaping the Jamaica of tomorrow?
Well, first of all, I would like to say thanks to all the members of the diaspora who came home and voted in the election, regardless of who you voted for, that you felt it important to come and participate in the democracy of the country should be acknowledged, and I acknowledge you. And of course, if you voted for me, even a greater special acknowledgement and thanks. But as I said earlier, the issue of power diplomacy. we're seeing almost a movement away or a challenge to multilateralism, which would give some deference to smaller countries. I think the world that is emerging is one where you have to stand on your own 2 feet. And so if there are Jamaicans who have in their way, we should just take that out of our minds and forget about that. You have to be, what it means to be an independent nation is that you have to stand on your own 2 feet. But it also means, as an independent nation, and I use the term nation because it's not just an independent country. The nation does include our citizens and persons who claim Jamaican heritage and citizenship as part of our nation. And those persons can play a role in ensuring that Jamaica is always favorably considered, that we are positioned in a strategic way in the world, and that we contribute not only to Jamaica's development, but to the development of the world. So Jamaicans living in the United States or elsewhere, helps Jamaica when they do well where they live, where they participate in the politics of their country, where they are part of enterprise, they're part of society in philanthropy and charity, they're part of academia, they are creating new knowledge, and they are participating in the peace and development of the country in which they live. That helps Jamaica. And in the same way, pay attention to affairs in Jamaica and contribute, whether it is in knowledge and academia, in society and culture, in economics, or just waving the flag at a sporting event and shouting Jamaica, Jamaica, one love. That helps Jamaica.
So before you go, many Jamaicans abroad want to return home or contribute more directly. What is your administration going to make it easier for members of the diaspora to resettle, invest, and even start businesses in Jamaica?
Well, there are already in place provisions which support our returning residents. And those provisions are fairly liberal in terms of incentives, in terms of duty concessions on taking home your goods to Jamaica when you're returning to live in Jamaica. But we outside of that, the objective is not to create a special window for any set or special set of Jamaicans other than persons who we would consider to be marginal in the society, or persons who have specific disabilities. Enterprise where the rules simple, that you don't have to give any special incentive. So it's a level playing field for all, and it is easy for all. And that's the other element of the term, which we will be focusing on, and that is improving our efficiency. And that means not just increasing the output of our people, but reducing the bureaucracy, which in the last 20 or 30 years has evolved into a very dense and complicated obstacle for not just people in the diaspora, but more so for people living in Jamaica. And so we have to pay attention to that. We have layered on rules on top of rules on top of rules and regulations and laws, and they have become very complicated and sometimes even working at cross purposes and consumes time unnecessarily. And so we have to take a really serious look at the Jamaican bureaucracy. We want a complex bureaucracy, meaning a bureaucracy that is properly networked and deals with all situations and probabilities of things emerging in an efficient way. What we don't want is a complicated bureaucracy where you have rules for rules' sake that don't make sense and that don't support the ultimate vision, which is to grow the economy and increase support the ultimate vision, which is to grow the economy and increase the standard and quality of life of Jamaicans. I want to thank you.
All right, this Holness. We have a series of rapid fire questions that we have to ask you before you go really quickly. Is it coffee or tea for you in the morning?
And it's really, some orange juice or coconut water, but yeah, it's tea. But listen, big up Blue Mountain Coffee. You can't get better than Blue Mountain Coffee. Oh, my favorite dish? These days I've kind of changed my diet. So, look, saltfish is always great. I don't do the ackee these days, but ackee and saltfish was always good.
Okay. One Jamaican proverb that you live by.
What is out there? There's so many of them. But look, one cocoa full basket, which speaks to me. Take your time, collect your cocos, put them in the basket. Before you know it, you fill the basket. So it speaks to a steady, diligent perseverance. And that's how we have been dealing with the Jamaican economy. Just one day at a time, one achievement at a time. And after 9 years, we turn around and present it to the people of Jamaica, a basket of achievements. Cut the debt in half, cut murders in half, cut unemployment to its lowest level, cut poverty in half, and 10 budgets, no net new taxes, just the highest reserves that the country has ever had. That's what we have done steadily and with great certainty. And I think the people of Jamaica have come to now acknowledge the performance of the government, and we have changed the politics. And for the first time, Jamaica is heading towards a meritocracy where if you merit it, you will get it. At one point in time, the philosophy was that, politics is about scarce benefits and spoils, and that, the man who works is not the man who necessarily gets the reward. We have changed that. And what the results of the election has clearly said, performance over promise.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are here in full support of you. Be safe as you travel throughout New York City. And again, thank you, Prime Minister Holness.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. And to your listeners and the Jamaican diaspora.